Hello, everyone. This is MMA Interesting Prospects podcast. Today, our guest is Sam Creasey, current Octagon flyweight champion. Hello, Sam. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Thanks for having me on today.
Thanks for taking the invitation. And in April, you become a Octagon flyweight champion. You defeated the fighter that you fought before. It was Aaron Abbey. So, if you can tell me, how do you feel to be a champion of other organization?
It feels good. It feels, like another addition, another string to my bow, if you like. I display, once more that I deserve to be on world-class athlete level, and I should be fighting the best guys in the world. Um, I don't think I'll ever be a middle rung fighter. I think I'm always going to be towards the top of any division I'm in. And yeah, I'm looking forward to my next test.
And he actually, of course, he's a very good fighter, and you looked great in this fight. In like every round, you look like a fighter who will win this fight. You were like looking for the good punches for the finish, and you are because you were a champion of Cage Warriors. It is a other promotion, another big European promotion, and you are a champion once again.
Yeah, that's it. Absolutely. Aaron did a lot of really, really good things that he'd changed about his fight style from our first matchup. And he negated a lot of what I did really well in the first fight, which was tended to be my wrestling, my clinch control, and my body lock takedowns. Um, in the first competition we had, I was pretty much able to get that anytime I wanted and put him down and was fairly comfortable with that. Um, this time he did a lot of really good work defending that and then countering that. I got a couple, but I had to work a lot harder than I did in the first fight in order to get those. And it gave me a chance then to work on my striking a little bit, display some more of my jab, my footwork, my low kicks. Yeah, so it was a good performance for me. I felt comfortable in there. Maybe I could have really chased the finish hard if I'd wanted, but I felt so comfortable, like I was cruising at times.
And do you have a like fight schedule or probably maybe a date that you would like to fight in?
Nothing at the moment. I believe my management are talking with Octagon at the minute. Hopefully, we'll have something in the pipeline very soon. But I've been training pretty much solidly since the fight anyway. I was ready to go a week later. Um, but let's see what happens, see who they can offer me next, and where we go from there.
And actually, I like checked other cards of Octagon and flyweights about that happened there, and there were not a lot. The one of the fighters who was on the card, and actually I believe lost, was Stipe Brcic, the fighter that you defeated. So if you will have a chance to defend the title, maybe there will be another fighter a little bit like you who never fought for Octagon, but also a world class fighter.
Yeah, I believe so. I think the division at the minute is quite shallow, but there are quite a few ex-UFC guys who've been released very recently, from the same region, who have also fought on Octagon previously, who they might look to re-sign and put in line for the title with me. That would make sense, ex-UFC guys competing against a guy who says he's the best in the world at that weight class. Um, Writes a story. But let's see. Let's see. I'm ready for whoever they put in front of me.
I believe that I saw one of the comments that was a name Muhammad Mokaev, and of course he was lately like released from the UFC. And to be honest, I'm not sure where he gonna be in what promotion he will be in like a few months. But I think that if you will have a chance to fight against him, and you would win. you are not only be a like a UFC level fighter, but you could be a like top 5 or top 3 from just one fight.
Yes, yes, yes. I'd love to fight Muhammad Mokaev. He's got a very good resume. He is a very good fighter. Um, I'm not sure what his or where he's heading next. I've heard the most likely destination is Brave. He's got a lot of connections there already. I know with his team, uh, where he fought previously. But you know, if they offered him a chance to fight for the title against me, I'd take it. I'd be quite happy to take that fight and test my skills against him.
And of course, you are like super experienced fighter. You have over 20 fights with like very good fighters in very good promotions too. And your first amateur bout took place in 2009, right?
Yeah, I think so. Something along those lines.
Uh, and for how long have you been training in this moment when you made your amateur debut?
6 months, I think. I hadn't done anything before that, and so we didn't really have a coach at the time. It was just kind of let's go and get a fight and kind of see how we do and see what we've got to work on. And we had an awful lot to work.
Yes, like 15 years ago, it was a like
Yeah,
totally different time. It's not like 2024. It's like
no,
it's a wild west a little bit.
that's it. Absolutely, completely different era. Very, very few and far between with any MMA gyms and anybody putting it together reasonably well. So we probably came at a good time for us, not knowing anything, but we could put it together slowly and try and figure it out and watch as much tape as we could, spar in as many places as we could, and get as much competition experience as we could. And you know, eventually we got to a point now where you know I'm good, but all the people who are still here from that time with me are very good as well, and have experienced all the same things as me. You know, and we can now pass that experience on to the new guys who don't have to make those same mistakes.
At at that point, like 2009, maybe 2010, do you believe that that this can be your like life journey, that you can be a pro MMA? Okay.
No, no chance. I began just as a hobby, just as something to do, keep me out of trouble, keep me busy. Started to enjoyed it more once I'd lost. I lost my first fight, and that got me obsessed. Where I pretty much didn't leave the gym, and I don't think I've left the gym since. um, but yeah, that was never a career aspiration. It was something that I was kind of pushed towards by a lot of people who really believed in me and saw how capable I could be. And you know, here we are, you know, 3-time world champion.
Yes, I think that it is a quite crazy journey because
Mm.
you were like one of the best flyweights or the best flyweight here in Europe for so many years. So it's like
Yeah,
very hard to be at the best, and it's even harder to be many years like in the row.
yeah, that's it. Absolutely. Um, I found myself. I've been written off a few times, and you know, there's been many times where I've made mistakes. At moments in my career, taken fights I didn't need to take, rushed things I didn't need to rush, and made mistakes in fights. But I've been in and around being the top guy in Europe for a long time, and every time I get written off, I come back and prove them wrong again. So you know, I'm going to be up in the top echelons of the sport until I'm gone.
And your last loss took place in Cage Warriors. It was a title fight against. I always have a problem with pronouncing the name correctly, but Shai Hak, I believe.
Yeah, Shajak, yeah.
Okay, yes, and actually in that fight you looked also you looked very good. You dropped him a few times, and if not the probably the small mistake, you could be on the like very you are right now on the free fight winning streak. But if the fight would have a different result, and it looked like it will be a different result, your winning streak would be much longer.
Yeah, that's right. I did feel I was ahead in that fight. I felt pretty comfortable, and then I got too comfortable, and if you take your eyes off the prize for a second, that was a shot from from nowhere, and I can only take my hats off to him for it. Since then he's had a great performance against the Italian uh, former bantamweight champion. He looked fantastic as well. But in our fight, I felt I was ahead on the scorecards, and I made a mistake, dropped my hand at the inopportune moment, and that's all she wrote.
But what I think is also interesting, because sometimes when this kind of knockout happen, it's like from the fighter, it's like he can lose some fights after this.
Mm.
And in your case, after this, you may even put the best performances of your career against also a good competition, because both of your like Italian opponents on the Cage Warriors were high level, and of course the last Octagon fight was really high level. So it's like hard to write you off.
Yeah. I mean that's it sometimes, unfortunately, because a lot of the reasons, or a lot of the mistakes have been my own fault, right? In these fights, when perhaps I should have been I should have been in the UFC a long time ago. I'm still very, very good, and I've never really been in a fight where I felt like this guy's better than me. I've been in fights where they've caught me. I've been in fights where you know, they've they've caught me clean, and I've gone to sleep for a bit, or I got caught with a great shot. But I've never really been in a fight where I'm like, this guy's he's much better than me. I don't know what to do. Um, which always gives me a massive amount of confidence that I'm never going to be written off, because until that happens and I start to struggle skill wise with any of these guys, then then there's not really a question to ask of myself. If I go into fights where I'm getting dominated by other fighters, then there's a question to ask. Am I good enough? But I'm yet to see that.
And about the UFC, did you
Mm.
ever like get a like not a contract, but do you have a like any information that UFC wanted you like few years ago in the UFC?
Many years ago, I had contact with them in some way, shape, or form. After one of my wins, I knocked somebody out quite quick. Um, but unfortunately, just the mistakes I've made at the moments where I've just been starting to make enough noise that, one more win should take me straight into the UFC, meant that, it's just not come to fruition. And I can only blame myself for those things. And I could get really down on it, but it's just part of the story. My career is a is a book that was supposed to end at chapter one after I lost the first fight, and then we went to chapter two, and we're however many years down the line now, three-time world champion, still plugging away, still being written off after every fight, and still proving people wrong.
Yes, and sometimes the young fighters are coming to the UFC, like 6-0, 7-0, and they have a little bit problems in this promotion because they are facing a much tougher, much better competition than they fought. And you fought in Europe against everyone. You have a very good style. You can knock people out. You can submit him. You can fight for 5 minutes, championship like distance. So it's like nothing what would be happening in the UFC wouldn't be a new thing for you.
No, no, absolutely. Listen, I could walk into the UFC tomorrow. I could fight anybody in the top 10, in the top 5, and I'll be ready. I don't see anybody there who massively stands out as, this guy is unbelievable. Everybody's very good, but some of the newer guys who have been signed, I don't know if they've been fighting as good competition. I fought the who's who of the scene across Europe, and you know, if the call comes, I'm ready. If not, I'm just going to keep on plugging away. I'll keep on knocking out whoever's in front of me and showing the level where I'm at.
Yes, and after like defending Octagon title, even if the UFC would not contacted you, you can like conquer another organization, another like flyweight division title.
Absolutely, absolutely. I want to fight world class opposition. So, if Octagon decide that it's going to be an ex UFC guy, they want to sign and they want to push him towards me, that's a fight that I relish, an opportunity that I get to show where I'm at skill wise. So yeah, bring them on.
And what is the main gym, the current gym that you are training in?
So I mainly train out of a place called RGA Bucks. It's in Aylesbury. I've got Kev Capel there, who's the lead instructor, Dan Lewis, and then a hell of a lot of other black belts there now who are very good, give me really good rounds and give me really good advice. I've got a few other places that I train at as well. Legends MMA, I train at the MMA clinic, Beaconsfield, and then I get sparring rounds over in BST where Jordan Bacenic, who's just signed for the UFC, is up in Birmingham with Jake Hadley, who's a UFC flyweight. I've got quite a few different places that I train out of really, but my main base is RGA Bucks.
And do you like this concept to be training in a few places to pick the best thing from each team, each group?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm lucky in that I've had my brother with me the entirety of my career, so we've always had each other to train with, to spar with, and we're both very, very good. But we've also been training together for so long that we know what the other one's going to do. So when we go to these other places, it's good to get a look at some other styles, some other bodies, some other shapes, some other movements, some other, characteristics that we've not dealt with in our gyms. And I think it helps bring everybody up. So I've not really ever been one to shy away from training or sparring with anybody because potentially might fight in the future. Never really cared about that because the way we spar and the way we train is completely different to the way we fight. And who knows how I'm going to fight when I actually get in the cage? It can change from one week to the next.
And because of your experience, because you know your style, your like abilities, what in your opinion is the best skill that you have, best tool that you have?
My best skill that I have is probably the fact that I didn't come into this sport as a specialist. I came into this as a nobody with no martial arts background at all, which meant that everybody who was a specialist dominated me in the gym in their specialized skill for the first however many years. And I had to improve everywhere. but I never had a place where, you know, I picked as like, this is my favorite, you know, I want to stand the feet. I want to stay wrestling. I want to stay jiu-jitsu. And so that meant that when it came to actual fights, I didn't really care where we fought. It can be on the feet, it can be in the wrestling exchange, it could be on the ground, and that seems to have given me an advantage in most of my fights. In that I'm comfortable. It doesn't matter where we're going to fight. I'll find a way to negate whatever skill set you've got there, and either take you to somewhere where I want to be or prefer to be, or we can stay in that area and I'll be okay. Whereas some of the more specialized guys, if they don't get it their way in their strongest skill set within the first round, second round, I feel like they mentally start to break a little bit, because you know that's the area they expect to dominate you in. And if they might be winning, but if they're only just getting ahead, but they're getting caught by a few shots, or maybe every takedown they go for is not successful, then they'll start to break mentally, and then you can start to pick them apart from there.
And in your fights, we can see that one time you are more of the striker, one time you are more of the grappler. You are looking for submission. So like you said, you are not just a kickboxer who the only thing that you are doing is kickboxing, or the wrestler, but you can mix it. And I think that because of that, sometimes your opponents can be surprised, because they may think that you will be more of the box in their fights, but you will go for the takedown, or you will be looking for the takedown, and then you start to kick their legs. So it's a little bit like a surprising part.
Yeah, absolutely. And I kind of like, I looked at the model for GSP as like the perfect model for MMA. He did all of his separate martial arts as well, but he was the most rounded guy about. And I still think if he came back now, he would still be at the top of the sport, because he looks after himself well, obviously, but he was so well rounded, it didn't matter where the fight went. He could submit you off his back, he could submit you from top position, or he could ground and pound you. He could take you down, he could defend your takedowns, and then we're on the feet. He's outboxing boxers, you know, out kickboxing kickboxers. So he created the model, and the rest of us will try our very best to try and get as close as we can.
And from the current UFC roster, do you have a name in mind that you would like to face?
To face
Yes.
in the flyweight division, you know, I would quite happily face anybody on that flyweight roster right now. Obviously, if I had a choice, I'd go straight in again against the champion, you know, because you know you want to test yourself against the number one. And that would be a dream fight for me. Outside the UFC, then I would want to fight Mighty Mouse, because I still think he's the best version of a flyweight there is that we have.
And about fighting in the UFC, the flyweight division is so crazy that like Steve Erceg case, that in 1 year he from promotional debut to fighting for the title, it's not impossible for you or for the other very great regional flyweight to fight even for the title. It's kind of crazy, but I think that still it's possible that you can get a UFC bout in a few weeks, win some, then got a ranked guy, win again, and because of you are new face and of course you are super skilled, you can get it.
Yeah. I mean that would be the perfect dream. It is. I don't want to say it's a shallow division, but there are not that many standouts in the division. And you know, between the top 10, the top 5 even, and the top 20, top 30, the skill disparity is not massive. You know, you look at other divisions and you'd say outside the top 5, outside the top 10, it does, you know, it drops away. at flyweight, I don't really see that. It's going to be whoever's the better man on the day, or whoever figures you out earlier. Um, but there's some good guys coming through, and let's see if we're going to get a new champion who's going to dominate like Mighty Mouse did.
Yes, it will be probably really hard because he defended that title like 11 times. So it's
Yeah,
probably like almost impossible because
yeah,
it means that you have to be fighting the best fighters for like 5 or 6 years. But even few title like 2 or 3 title defenses, this is a super impressive thing.
yeah, yeah. No, absolutely, absolutely. Pantoja's got it at the minute, but we'll see how long he keeps it for. Plenty of people around who could take the title from him. Potentially, I would have said Mokaev when he was in. That would have possibly been the next guy in line. Um, don't know who's going to go for it now though. I know there's a Japanese guy. I think 6-0,
Kai
7-0.
Asakura, I believe that
Yeah,
he
yeah,
can.
yeah, yeah. That's a guy who's has he just been signed? This guy
Yeah,
a
yes,
little
I
while.
think that he
Yeah,
was, yes, signed.
yeah, yeah. There's some good fights in there, and it's still super exciting.
And I see that you have a lot of knowledge about MMA also as the fan of the sport. And if you can tell me what is the like best moment when you are remembering like some cool experience, but only from the fans perspective, the one moment in the history that you are a fan of MMA, the moment that give you like a lot of emotions, that it was that you are the most excited about something in MMA as the fan.
Uh, as a fan,
Yes.
and this is a biased position as well because Vaughan Lee was like one of my main training partners, and he's been like an inspiration to me throughout my career and that. And I probably the most excited I've ever been is when I saw him submit Kid Yamamoto, um, a guy who was his inspiration, who he'd trained with and gone to his academy and looked up to for a long time. To see him submit him and beat his his number one was like that was such a surreal moment. I was just like you can't even say how happy you are in a moment like that just for him to experience that is unbelievable, and that's my biggest fan moment that I've had in MMA.
And do you have a chance to train with Von Lee? Because think that I saw this information.
Yeah, yeah. I've trained with him on and off throughout the years. He's up in Birmingham as well. He was in Thailand for a long time, so we didn't train during that period of time. But he's back in the UK, and I should get back up to train with him again. Like one, he's a fantastic training partner, an amazing coach now. But two, he's just such a good man. Like spending time around him, it's his energy is infectious. It leaves you in a better mood, um, about you, about life, about everything really. Um, so you probably give me a kick up the arse. I should go up there and train with him.
And in my opinion, you are on one of the best streaks, best shapes that you ever were. So it's
Mhm.
like you probably have a lot of good years in your career fighting against top level guys. But if you are thinking about what's gonna happen after ending your career, after you retire, do you have like specific plans to what's gonna happen next? Like maybe that you would like to be coach, maybe you would like create some business.
So yeah, I'm in terrific shape. Like for my age as well, people don't realize how old I am, I guess, because I come to the sport so late as well. But I've looked after myself over the years, and the damage that I've taken in fights has been massively limited, really. So I think I've got plenty of years ahead of me. Um, and I still move like a young guy. If I was really slowing down, maybe be something to think about. But post career, I mean, I'm already coaching now. I enjoy the balance that I have at the moment while my career is still progressing, where I just coach a few days a week and that. But I think eventually I will, when I retire, I'll open up my own place eventually, start to teach kids, put some programs together with like the local community where it's not just a martial arts school, it's like a community hub where people can come together. We'll get some funding together for like some charity dues and that, and try and give back a little bit. Um, then I've I had some work in the film industry, so perhaps I can, you know, get my hand back in there and do some stuff with like maybe some fight choreography or something along those lines. Um, and then just, just try and enjoy life with my family, give back as much as I can, and inspire the next generation to go and follow their dreams.
I think that probably because of your experience and because of your knowledge, you would be a like great coach because you like train in a lot of gyms. You have like you like gather a lot of ideas from a lot of coaches, so you can be like probably a very good coach in this point or like few years like after retiring.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I do think like I've got a lot of knowledge to give, um, and I feel like I balance it quite well at the minute. But there's still because I'm still in competition at the minute. There's that selfish side of things that has to come in a camp or closer to a fight, um, which is that's hard for me to manage because I care about a lot of these guys and I want them to be as successful as possible. And you know, when I see them fight, it's very difficult for me because I don't want to see them hurt at all. Um, but yeah, I feel like I can give back a lot when I commit to this like full time. But we shall see. That's a few years away yet, hopefully.
And do you have a country that you like to fight in? Because a UFC can like put shows in US, in Europe, in a lot of countries. So if you can go there or to other promotion, but fight in any country in the world, do you have a country in mind that you are thinking, yes, I would like to fight there?
Um, I would like to fight in America at some stage before I retire. And I would also like to fight in Japan. I feel like that has like a spiritual side of martial arts that kind of uh, I've always had that in the back of my mind. I'd like to go to Japan and compete there at least once.
Okay, Sam. So many thanks for the conversation. I think that your place it's not only in the should be in the UFC right now, but probably like 3 years ago, 5 years ago, like many times. But of course, I think that you will still get this opportunity maybe next year, and your like route to the rankings shouldn't be a long one.